I was wondering because the banter felt so natural in some scenes. What was the culture of like using improvisation versus like what was on the page that you kind of like picked up through your career, and how did you want to establish that kind of play on your own set?
Well, first of all, we had a meeting as soon as Sam and Chloe and Matt got there, and I just kind of said, like, this is going to be a safe playground. Like, we're just going to be able to play. There's no failure because you never know what you're going to end up using. So even if you're like, that kind of bombed in the moment. Like, I remember using a take where Chloe walks away and you can hear her say in her microphone, that was a bad one. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It ends up being such a good use for that moment because you never know what you'll need tonally when it comes down to editing. So I like to just make sure that we have as much improv or just feeling out what feels right in that moment, or if the scene feels sticky, it's like say it in your own words. We did that quite a bit. Yeah, and I just think that leads to the best end result. It for me, certainly anytime I've been on a set and they say, let's do one or two sticking to the script and then let's kind of open it up, that always just makes me feel like, oh, good. All right. There's less pressure because we'll kind of do it one or two times. They'll feel like they got it. And now we just get to have fun. And there's something in my brain, because kind of I'm an anxious person, that makes me go, okay, well now they've got it. So now I just kind of get to get loose with it. And some of those takes are the takes you actually end up using because people aren't as afraid of like getting it word perfect.
Sam, I want to talk about the fantasy sequences just because they are so cool, so elaborate. I love like the quick changes and the way the transitions worked. And they're so unhinged too. Like they just really go out there. But what was kind of like the rehearsal process of like nailing down those beats and then transitioning that to getting like the final takes that we end up seeing in the final product?
And I just have to give a huge kudos to our choreographer, the star Travis Wall. He's amazing and couldn't have done it without him. The way that, like, just how meticulous it was to rehearse all of these beats, but the way that he made it so fun and easy to do. And also big ups to our costume department, like figuring out how to get those snaps off for the wedding dress and all of these things. There's so many different um departments that were being utilized, which I loved because it was like a big party of collaboration between like camera and costume and choreo and director, and like it was just a big fun time. And to do those lifts, I mean, like to be with the for our opening credit scene, we worked with a lot of gymnasts, and they just like lifted me like it was nothing, which was awesome. And it was just such a like it was one of those things where I had to step back and be like, this is what I do for a living. I just get to be Jesus into the air. We lit like behind the monitor, Travis would be yelling, and Jesus, and I'd go like, oh, and it was like so fun. And just like the preparation was there, and at the same time, on the day, you just gotta go with it.
Mm.
One of those things like you could prepare all you want, but on the day, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And it was something that I will like the memories of it will be very like I hold those.
Yeah. I love that you have your own pinch me moment through the experience of
Oh my
this.
God, so many.
Yeah.
That leg squeezing thing was real. That like I had to do that. It was a dream to be on this show.
Amazing. Jillian, I do want to ask just because I don't know if it was intentional or maybe the title of the movie like incepted this into me, but it feels like a very vintage, almost period piece with like the styling and stuff. But obviously, there's like cell phones, but it doesn't seem like the cell phone or like technology is ever like a focus on how these characters communicate or look. Was that ever an intentional thing, or did it just end up being that way?
I love you. I love that you picked up on that. I hate technology. I have a tattoo of 1984 because that was my birth year. I wish everything was set then because we had payphones and like landlines, and I miss all of that stuff. And when I first read the script and I saw that Sam's character was a gamer, I was like, oh no, I don't know anything about these worlds. Like, and I hate cell phones. So it was one of those things where I'm like, how can I use this and keep it modern, but then also give that nostalgic feeling? And Maria Rushi and I, the DP, amazing, incredible cinematographer, we talked a lot about the look of the movie, and I talked to like making sure it felt not like fresh and like a Target commercial and like we've just ripped off tags from everybody's backpacks and t-shirts. So just making it feel more lived in, more nostalgic. And, Lindsay Monahan, our head of costumes, I was just like, it's very important for me for like the colors to feel a little warmer and give that feel of like maybe 60s, maybe 70s. And then musically we went there. We kind of started with Sam's character feeling a little 50s in innocence, with the wedding fantasy sequence. And then Santa Monica's feels very modern, with Peaches. And then they meet somewhere in the middle. Like they're kind of always in the 70s and we end the film in the 80s, musically. So there was just a lot for me that I felt like, how can we give this a sort of John Hughes-esque feel without being like, this is set in 1984? How can we make it modern, but also make it feel like the movies we grew up loving?
Totally. Congratulations. I do have to wrap. I have to leave with this. Sam, I love how Filipino Abby is. It's the Uy, Philippines. That one's for me.
Yes.
Amazing. Congrats to you both. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see this again.
Thank you.
Yay.